and welcome to another day here at my desk. If you're new here, my name is Jen and I make videos of stationery, journaling, planners, and all the little things in between. Planning and journaling are my discipline, but stationery and journals are my passion. Come on in. I made this lovely cup of tea. It is Thursday after work, right before July 4th holiday. Today, I wanted to talk about my pocket notebooks. So portable options for my planners and journals. I'll go into the ones that I use for travel and how I make those decisions when I am on the go, like when I leave my home, but also I mean traveling to go on trips. I've had a couple of trips already this year and was able to fine-tune my journals and planners for on the go. Some of them have changed a little since my 2026 Techo kaigi after being used, so I'll go through those updates. As you can see, there are some new additions. I'm also working on my mid-year update, which I plan to post after this video. So this one is sort of functioning like a part one to that because I'm trying to get my videos to be closer to the 30-minute mark. Hopefully. I do like the longer videos, but for me to keep the video quality for upload, I'm going to try to keep it around the 30 to 40-minute mark if I can. So I decided to do two categories for this. One is travel, and the other is pocket notebooks, but I keep at home. Okay, so I have everything here, so I'm going to set things aside so that way we can get started. For my travel portable options, these essentially replace the function of some of my daily books. So I've talked before, my current EDC or everyday carry is this Hobonichi Weeks that I've shown before. I've moved it to this cover, and if I do end up traveling with this is becoming a memory keeper, so I would be pretty devastated if I lost this. But if I did travel with this, like on a road trip or something, I would use this Tragan cover that is from Hobonichi that I have mentioned before, and I really do love this. I think it keeps it a little bit more safe than this cover, but this cover is nice for having it at home. The other part of my EDC is this Me Plus Slim Pad. I've gone into depth about this one in a previous video if you're interested, but I will go into this in my mid-year Techo kaigi. So when I travel, I typically like to use a planner to plan clothes and weather so I don't overpack, and it's really helped me with baggage. So the first one is this pocket leather planner. If there is a plane involved, this is going to be my go-to because it's pretty small. Like, this would be the ideal situation. Right now, I am putting it in this leather utility case. This has become one of my favorite things ever as far as stationery goes, and it fits here perfectly. So if there is a plane involved, this is ideally what I would like to bring. So I've mentioned this cover before. It is by Jenica's Journals. And when I had shown it before, I had the Sterling ink 520 page, and this fit in here perfectly. So this one's kind of on the shelf for now. It's very cute. So this whole thing isn't entirely new, but the function is. So this I had shown before. It was in my Paper Republic Grand Voyager, but I have had a shift. So this is the Sterling ink Common Planner, compact with horizontal weeks. The pen I like to use is this Uni Jetstream. Little Miffy. But I have an update to how I've been using this. This in the front cover is just a Moleskine. I believe these are called the Kehirs. So this is just messy, random note-taking, like jotting things down quickly. I really like this format. And this is Toby. You could hear him screeching in some videos. Okay, so this section, I have holidays circled in this pink, and I've highlighted trips that I will be taking. And typically these times will be when I'm in this planner, especially my trip in April. So for this yearly tracker, when I first tried this, I wanted to do pages red, and when work got busy, so I've highlighted red is like busy season for work. And as you can see, I did not read much at all. So originally when this was in the Paper Republic with my reading journal, I didn't really have a use for this page, so I wanted to try that, and it just didn't work for me. It just kind of made me feel bad. So now I've decided to use this to track PTO and highlight the days that the trips are going to happen. And for a while I was tracking the actual temperatures, but I ended up moving this over to the quarterly section. But other than that, I think now I will write down sideways what the trip is. Like I'll turn it this way and just write the trip. The quarterlies have changed. So originally I used this book for YouTube planning, but I found that it was too small for what I needed it for, and more on that in a bit. I wanted to continue to use this because I absolutely love this little book. I will repurchase it for sure and use it as a travel planner. So this is pretty much the compact version of this, except more focused on the trip and planning the trip. So I don't have very much PTO, so I thought it would be helpful to track the PTO days here, especially when I request the PTO and get it approved. I've been keeping track of that here. But yeah, the dot is just something that's planned, and then when I submit the PTO in the system, I'll just put an X. So here I'm just putting the actual temperatures, so the high and the low. And this mostly comes in handy because I do the forecast in the weeklies, and I'll show that in a second, but this mostly comes in handy for my Hobonichi 5-year journal because I like to put the temperatures there, and there's a lot of entries where I don't have the temperature, and I thought this would help with it because I'll put the high and the low temperatures of that day when I'm doing the entry. I don't take my 5-year journal with me on trips, so I just thought this would be a useful way for me to use it. This is June, and I did not plan on having deco in here at all. I was trying to use up this washi tape, so I went in and dressed up the months a little. So most of June, I have been sick. I was sick almost all of June. So I started feeling bad here, like really bad, and it just was kind of relentless. And it wasn't until June 30th that I actually started feeling more like myself again. And it was a combination of factors. Like I forgot to take my allergy meds for one day, and I also discovered that there was a plant in my home that started growing mold, like a fungus. I am hella allergic to mold. But yeah, and I actually figured that out this past weekend, and I have been feeling much better. But anyway, okay, so for the weeklies, I marked this off so I could cover some personal things. So the way I have this set up, on this side, I will put some notes, like here I did a to-do list before I would leave for my flight that were just pertinent. So usually the week of or a couple of days before my trip, I will just be in this planner. Like I will sync up the monthlies to this. So I'll start kind of getting cozy and comfortable in this planner, and it kind of helps, especially when packing, because it's small and straightforward. So what I'll do is I'll look up the forecast and write it down, and based on the forecast and whether or not there's rain, I will plan outfits here. And I'll usually have like maybe 1 or 2 backup outfits depending on what the event is. I use a pencil mostly in here and draw the lines because I'll have to tweak it and I don't want to just scratch it out. There's kind of limited space, so I just use a pencil. And then I have this pen with me while I'm traveling. But this has really helped me. I started doing this maybe 3 years ago, and my main issue was I was unable to fly with Southwest for a while, and I heavily relied on the way they did their baggage. And so now the options that I have to fly with just kill you on baggage fees unless you open a credit card with them, right? So I have just tried to pack exactly what I need and then maybe have like very few options if there's actually a change in the forecast. So on this day, the forecast showed rain, but then it turned into a blizzard. I had some options just in case, and then I ended up underlining in red the things I actually wore. It was just mostly sort of day of for me to be like, okay, I have to make this decision. And the events will be here, and I will refer to this if and when I journal, and then I'll also add it to the Hobonichi weeks, since this kind of functions as a memory keeper, kind of backlog it. So before, the first 10 pages, I was using it as YouTube notes, and now that is in a section in here. I was very excited because trips were starting up for the year, and I just wanted to make a cute little spread for April because this is now functioning as the journaling part. So if I happen to have time to journal, then I can journal back here in these pages. So it's been going pretty well. This paper, I tend to like to use a ballpoint. So I absolutely love how this is set up. This would, when you're traveling, and I hate when things jam into my books. So I like to have covers for books, even books that I'm reading, I have a cover for it. So if I have space, I will take this whole thing. And if I think I will have time to journal, I will take this whole thing. But if I don't, then I'll just use some sort of bag. So I have this one that would fit. It'll minimize the bulkiness if I have limited baggage. Okay, for the next one, I have this Hobonichi Techo A6 Avec, July through December, and this cover is the Potter Stroll. And I've had this cover for a while. I was trying my best not to get it, but then it went on sale on Jet Pens. So I scooped it up, and I am super glad I did. It made traveling with this Hobonichi Techo possible for me because, like I said, I don't like when the pages in my books get messed up. Travel can get rough, so I need whatever I take to be able to take a beating and contain and protect my pages. So there is so much crap in here. But that was kind of the whole point because I don't have a normal Hobonichi Techo. So I have a bunch of ephemera. I showed in my last video how I go about packing this. And I just have a Paper Republic notebook for just random notes on the go that I'll jot stuff down. I also have a bunch of washi stickers, and these are from like wide rolls. So it's just easier to be able to keep them there. One of my goals / rules for this year was to avoid dated daily bound books for aesthetic journaling, but I was craving the Hobonichi A6 Techo in February, so I took the one from last year out, and I told myself if you can use it until day 83, then I can buy the Avec to make it this incentive for me. So this is currently what it looks like, and here I've tracked how I've used it. So you'll see here that I filled these in, but yeah, I used it and it was nice because there was bulk here, so it was like as I was getting into it, it was more and more comfortable. And this was also kind of to prove to myself, like, if you want that other book, maybe make sure you know you're committed. And I already had this book laying around, so I didn't really fill in all of this. It's hard when there's like a mountain on this side, it just bothers me. So I do find that these are pretty compact without the Hobonichi covers, especially with the butterfly loops. It's amazing how much smaller it seems, even though it's the same, it's still A6. But yeah, it's helpful for me to set these mini goals for myself, to minimize impulse buying and to really sit with the decision instead of just flirting with it. But I'm glad to be trying the Avec. This is perfect for me because the first half of my year is so busy with work that it just doesn't make sense for me to keep up with like daily pages. So I think it will also help me with the bulk issue. Like, I feel so free to just put a bunch of stuff in here and collage my heart out. So the current plan for this monthly overview, I'm thinking I will sync it up to my Hobonichi Weeks monthly, so I just have it on me if I do travel with it. And the monthlies, I plan on doing weather forecast and clothes planning here. And then turning the page, I made a cute little spread to celebrate. I was very excited to have this book. So this is for July. For the to-do part, like what the current temperature is while I'm in here and the high and low while I'm traveling. The only other thing is the My 100. I'm hoping to put favorite memories in here and maybe to memorialize something that really made me laugh. So that's how I have this one set up. Ephemera in these pockets. And I think because I don't have this the whole year, I might gravitate towards this in the summer if it's not like a camping situation. Like I'll have access to a table of some sort. I think that would be the main distinguisher between this and the last one. The next one on the list is this red Love and Trip Passport Traveler's Notebook. Lately, I've been using this mostly for trips that don't involve a plane, especially the first half of the year, and for cafe journaling. So I don't really take this on planes anymore because now I have more comfortable options, but maybe road trips, times when I don't have the Avec. So I'll flip through the current setup. So this leather folio is from Baumkuchen and I really love it. So I only have one book in here and that's because I paste ephemera in it so it kind of bulks up and it's comfortable for me in here with just one notebook, and I have a lot of folders for the ephemera that I put in here. I've pre-decorated some pages and then I'll usually post in mostly receipts and whatever random stickers I come across when I have this with me. And this is just a random booklet I got from Sticky Club, and this is just be able to jot things down on the go. And it does fit in here perfectly, so I like that it kind of makes this even because of the zipper case. And the pen that I have is a Kaweco Sport in the fine nib, and I like the Kaweco blue cartridges. So I've actually found a random linen bag that I've been keeping this in because I like to have the pen here. It just is a lot easier to pack up and it's so perfect. It's like slightly larger because the bag that it came with was always fighting me. So in the scratch paper, I'll also sketch, and then whatever I commit to, I'll put in the actual nice paper. This one is on the shelf because I have my Avec right now. I will usually take my Avec over this one. The next one is a new edition, not so much the guts, but definitely this cover. This is a Paper Republic A6 lay portfolio, and this is a new favorite. This would be the on-the-go bullet journaling, and for science, I checked and it does fit in here. So whenever I do not have the Avec, I can put this in this bag, and I'm very excited about that. So the pen I'm using in here, this is a Monteverde Candy Mountain, and this was on sale when I got it and I love it. It is a fine nib, but I feel like this fine nib is thick, if you know what I mean, but it's very wide. This is just so nice to write with, especially really helps with the hand fatigue. I can write a lot longer with it, but also because it glides well, it does tend to bleed in most options. So that is why I moved my Midori in here. This is what it looks like. And you've seen this before. I originally had it in this notebook. So this is my on-the-go bullet journal slash Zibaldone slash catch-all. And I love the paper in these. So in this front cover, I just have a passport size traveler's notebook pencil board, and I have a post-it for a to-do list, and I have some extra washi stickers from the washi tape shop. I will likely choose this one if I'm anticipating my trip being more of a solo trip or like a less social trip, because you know there are some more social like group trips. And you've seen this before. I started it in August of last year and I'm really enjoying my time in here. I like that the paper is thick, so I can use this pen, but also I can paste ephemera in it without there being too big of ridges on the paper. Like when you flip it to the back, it helps with the surface if you're pasting a lot of stuff in here. But I do love that there's pockets on the insides. I got this because I really loved the chestnut color from having this pocket size. I just like more room when journaling. I really love the A6 size in general. That's why I have so many. I do feel like it's relatively compact, but there's just so much more room. Especially, I feel like there's so much more room than the passport size. And this angel number, so 3 was my mom's favorite number, and I just feel good when I see it because it symbolizes growth and alignment, divine guidance. I like when I see this on a clock because it feels like the universe is encouraging me to trust myself, my intuition, to embrace my creative potential and move forward with confidence in my life. You know, it suggests your life is in harmony and you are on the right path. So that's especially reassuring to me if I'm on a solo trip. It can be scary to travel by yourself, but I think there's so much that you learn, and I do love that feeling of being outside of my comfort zone and yet loving it. I do plan on changing this out to a maroon string. I love the way this looks. So I'm gonna put a color closer to this one's. So you'll probably notice a trend with this. I tend to have a messy catch-all notebook with my travel journal to jot things down that I don't want to see in my journals when I look back on them. Mostly because my handwriting can be good, but not when taking notes. Like, I'm sure this is true for most people, but seriously, nobody has been able to read my notes. Sometimes I can barely read them myself. I had the chaotic ADHD, so I just like being able to have something separate personally, and it's usually just slimmer options. Okay, next up, so I've shown this before. So this is essentially my wallet extension for doctor visits or if I travel internationally, because it fits my passport perfectly. And I also like to keep blank note pages in here. And I have this bookmark go directly to that, and I don't really like the blank pages, so I had so much of it, so I like to use it, especially in Japan when you can do a train stamp and there's stamps everywhere. I will stamp these and then I will take them out and journal with it. So the notes in here, that's where this bookmark goes, is typically just a catch-all while I have this notebook with me, so they'll typically get migrated elsewhere or be tossed. Otherwise, the doctor setup is the same, and the ring size in the Holburn is much smaller, and the cash section is what makes this useful to me. So this is just a great, comfortable option for those situations. Okay, next up are these Marks Ink Edit B7s, and I love these so much. So I actually started with this kind, so these are what the new ones look like. If you read Japanese, that could be useful to you. This one's stunning. I can't wait to dive into this, but it's gilded and the cover's like got a little bit of some sheen, like gold sheen on it. But this one, this yellow was very aggressive, so it was awesome to come across this cover. And I do think this is a lot easier to travel with than this one. If I don't have like a lot of stuff in my purse and I have a smaller bag, I do like to bring this just on the go if I think I need notes for anything. And this pen is a Sierra Incense Cedar. These I like to take if I have like 0 baggage space. So what I like to do is I will make a weekly in here. I'll draw lines. Because these are so small, I'll do maybe 3 days at a time, maybe 4 days. So for example, if I do like a 5-day trip, I would have a bunch of notes for prep for the trip, and then I will put like a line here for the day before the trip, and then the first 3 days of the trip, and then the next 2 days of the trip, and then the day after. And that just really helps me out. This pen I actually had before I got this cover, and this was just so perfect to me, the combination, and it is by Edit. So I saw this at a stationery shop while traveling, and for a portable pen, this is one of my favorites. So it just, this combo is so perfect. Yeah, again, if I have 0 baggage, I will probably take this even over this. Okay, the next one is this little baby. This is a brown traveler's notebook card size from the 20th anniversary drop, and I love this little thing so much, but this took me a bit to arrange in a way that was comfortable for me to write in. Quite a bit of reconfiguring for me. So mostly I have this everywhere now, so this has kind of replaced this. Except this is much more comfortable to write in, which would become a factor in how I make the decision between the two. But even around the home, I have this by my bedside to collect things that pop into my head, like things I realized I forgot to do or things that I need to do. It goes in my purse because it fits all of my purses. And this pen is the Kaweco Lilliput. I feel like this is the most comfortable fountain pen for its teeny size. I love this pen so much. So I'll show you the setup that I settled on. So when you open it up, it is this cute little card folder that I dressed up. And on the inside, this is actually a Moleskine ruled kahir. I love these, so I wrote this down to remind me what it's called when I have to buy more of them. They have 56 pages, and it actually fits this pretty well. It's a little bit longer than the actual books that come with this, but I think it's fine. And I just like that this has perforated pages. So this is actually the notebook I would carry around in smaller purses or in my travel backpack before I got the Edit Marks B7s, so this one. And that's actually why the edges are so chewed up, is because I'll just put it in my purse, like just slip it in one of the side pockets or something, but this drives me nuts. And that's actually why I like to protect my notebooks. But anyway, it was perfect to put in here because it has lines, so all of the books it came with are just no lines, which is why I made this. So I would just put gridded washi tape on this. Card came with this. I mean, it's just packaging, and I was like, well, it already fits, so I'm gonna put washi tape on it so I could have some lines. And it also helps with just the surface. So this brown one with the gold foiling is for journaling and sketching on the go. I tried to add another notebook, but I just like the 2 notebooks in here. It's a more comfortable writing surface in both of them on the go. And that's also why I put this folder in here, because it's kind of rigid, so it gives me more of a solid surface to write on for both notebooks. And what I have next is this washi card, and this was in my personal rings Filofax, so I just moved it in here. And here I have some extra cards that I don't keep in my main wallet because my main wallet is super slim, so a lot of cards that were in here I moved to this because I've just been carrying this everywhere lately. And so in the zip, I keep minimal change in here. It's not more than 5 coins at any one time. Yeah, I love this so much. And look at it with the travel paint kit. It's the same size, like stop. Okay, yeah, you got me again, Traveler's Company. I love this. But also, like, it's pretty beat up, but I had this extra bag, so I save all of these canvas bags for this reason. And look how perfect this is. Okay, in the next section, these are pocket notebooks, but they typically stay at home. So the next one up is this Paper Republic Grand Voyager in the chestnut color. And I've shown this before, but I removed all of the YouTube planning. So this is just my media journal now. And I used the same Uni Jetstream in here, and it's Snoopy. And because it was all brown, it matched. So I had the pocket sterling ink in here because I was doing YouTube planning in it, but it was just too small for me to plan out everything that I needed to. So I repurposed it as my travel planner. Now this is just books and TV. I've moved this to the front. This is still a reading journal with the same function. I have added a ton of books to the book rec section. So I collect book recommendations through screenshots on my phone, through Lucy Baldones, like all over the place. So I migrated all of them into this section. So there are quite a few. I'm really happy for how this is functioning. And now that work is less crazy, I have been reading more, and I think that is a huge win. And this one is just a random catch-all. So if I have a random thought while reading or watching TV, so mostly lists or things I need to do, and I'll usually mark ones that I'll know I want to transfer into my quotes book later. So this guy. So this is a moleskin that I was keeping by my couch in the living room, and this is actually a sticker that I designed, and I'm pretty proud of it. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description. I have a very teeny shop that if I make extras of whatever I want to make, I'll usually throw them into the shop. So if anyone was interested and really loves Gojo like I do. So this is the moleskin, and it is a soft cover, which I prefer the soft covers if there's a leather cover involved. And we'll go to, okay, this is a random week. This I'll have to whatever week I'm in, and so it's kind of behind because I've actually been reading but also planning videos in my spare time. But also Prodigal Son, I wouldn't say it's like the best show ever, but I am enjoying it. And there's only 2 seasons, I think, but it's one of those shows where there's like over 20 episodes, so it's just, I've been watching Prodigal Son for a minute now. So in the monthlies, they're so teeny, but what I do is I just log a series that I start, and so I'll just kind of, it might have some overflow. So you can kind of see this. I started Prodigal Son here, and it's just kind of fun to have this here. And you don't see that much going on here, but mostly I've been watching Prodigal Son and finishing up Victoria if I do watch TV. This, I was also trying to put movies, but I stopped doing that because the space is so tiny. I just track TV shows in here. I don't read if I watch a lot of TV. And honestly, when work is killing me, I just need to chill. Not that reading isn't chill, it just takes more energy for me than TV does. If my brain is tired, I just sort of read the words, but I'm not comprehending them. So like, I'll read and then I hit the bottom of the page and I'm like, do I even know what I just read? And it's like, no. And I try to reread it. Like, you know, it's like rereading the same thing over and over, and it's like, okay, maybe I should do something different. Yeah, I like that this is slightly slimmer. Actually, it might be half the size of the sterling ink. And that was another issue in here, is the sterling ink was so thick and I had it in the middle. It made it hard to be in these smaller notebooks on the edges. But this is so perfect because the writing surface is pretty flat. Like, this is doable for me to jot stuff down. So in the weeklies, I will have anything that if I'm watching TV, I am in here. But I'm playing with the idea of just adding whatever book that I reach for here. But I feel like that makes more sense in the weeklies, to put down whatever book I'm reading. So for example, I've been rereading one of my favorites, so maybe I do just like a certain color pen and then just put like a star here, if that makes sense. Actually, yeah, so I think I'll be doing that. Okay, so in the weeklies for TV especially, so I typically like to put quotes that I really like from the show here. So here's an example. And if I run out of room here, this is the overflow for quotes. So if I'm still watching something in the week and I want to add a quote, I'll jot it down here. But all of this is just low stakes. I'm not stressing about this at all. This actually is just fun to do with the book I'm reading or the show that I'm watching. And especially with TV, this is just, you're not really doing anything when you're sitting at the couch watching TV. So I just kind of jot stuff down, and I like to save whatever knowledge that I do get from the show. I'll also add some notes, like if I finish a show, I'll add notes about my impressions or what I'm thinking about after that. And it does help. I have these book review inserts that I got from Me Plus. So in this book, I have my book log, but you know, it's on the other side of this, and I've been making an effort to use these. So I think it would help me refer to this. Like I said, it's low stakes. This is all fun for me, so. And just in general, when I watch TV or when I read, but especially when I read, I don't like reaching for my phone. I want it to be like a phone off activity, but also if I hear things that I want to write, it's easier for me to jot them down than to type them in my phone. And that's just how I am. So I put a tab in the back of this, and this is the final spot of all of my watch lists. And my TV watch list, I still have to migrate from my Sterling Ink back pages, but right now I'm kind of on a book and anime kick. I sort of pause the anime to read more, but also I'm trying to make more videos because I have some trips coming up, so I want to have all of those filmed. And that is the update to this setup, and I have been loving this. So I keep some bookmarks in here if I need it, and this does still bring me joy. I usually have this by my reading nook, or I'll take it to the living room, and it just kind of goes between the two. So yeah, that is my updated media journal, and I'm very happy with this. Okay, next up is this Ideation A6 notebook. And this is one of my comfort covers. This leather cover is by Jenica's Journals. So I've shown this before, but now there are updates. So removed the bullet journal. I moved it to this Paper Republic A6, but also this Sterling ink I got because I realized all I needed for planning for YouTube is just monthlies. And also I like the front goals tracking section. This is working great. There's a lot more room. I'm very happy with this. And you know, this doesn't seem that much bigger than the Passport, but it really is, especially the width and especially the quarterlies, which I use a lot. So I migrated all the notes I had in the Passport size, and it's disappointing when a book doesn't work out, but at least planners are usually discounted later in the year, you know what I mean? So it wasn't that bad. And you can kind of tell like the guts of some of the books all shifted because it's like I wanted to try to accomplish something and then things were not working, and then it's like, well, I already had this trying to use it for this other function, but it's in theory freed up now. This is the same function and getting towards the end of it. So now all I have for YouTube planning are these two, which is very satisfying, and I'm happy with that. Maybe it would make sense to have them combined, but they're different ways of thinking for me, so this is working for me currently. Okay, now I just wanted to discuss some honorable mentions, so like other A6 or smaller notebooks that also stay at home, and I've shown them before, so I'll just gather them here and I'll add text to the purpose. So those were all of my pocket notebooks, my collection of journals and planners that I like traveling with. In the next video, I'll do a mid-year update on how my analog ecosystem is going and all of the changes to the Techo kaigi that I posted in the beginning of the year. Thank you so much for spending a part of your day with me. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some value from it. So until the next one, happy journaling.